also wave a green flag at us. Sure he did. Oh, she did?
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I'm Katherine Vaccaro, a member here at 1U. With me today in service are Reverend Margalie Belizaire, our music team, including music director Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, and accompanist Tamara Musney, Lisa Marie Mattas Steinmeier, Nicki Drumb, Carina Cook, Rhonda Rodriguez, and our special musical guest, Magic of Bronze. We also have a slew of wonderful people in the background working diligently to ensure that we come together this morning. So thank you to our tech team, welcome team, childcare team, and so many others. We welcome all to join us as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. Whoever you are, whoever you love, you are welcome here. You are welcome here, regardless of your color, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. We welcome you. For more information about our congregation and announcements, go to orlandouu.org or email info@orlandouu.org. And now, today's special announcements, and we have a few. Mark your calendar to attend the first congregational meeting of the new church year, Sunday, October 23rd at 12 noon. The meeting will be held in person here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. The agenda, the minutes from the May 22nd annual meeting, and a link to the online voting form are posted at the 1U website in the members section. For more information and the Zoom link, please check the weekly update. If you have questions, please contact bot@orlandouu.org. Announcement number 2. We are seeking volunteers for 1U's tent at the Central Florida Veg Fest on Saturday, October 22nd. see our weekly update or contact Mary DuBois or Program Assistant Gabby. And number 3, Conversations with the Minister is being hosted by the membership team today in Gore Hall, Room A, and also on Zoom at 11:45. This is time for casual conversation with Reverend Margalie, friends, and newcomers. Bring your questions, share your thoughts, meet other seekers. No reservations are required, and Zoom information can be found in the weekly update. One final announcement, I'd like to turn it over to Gabby.
Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? Good. Well, I'm the program assistant here at 1U, and I'm here today to remind you that we have begun our call for nominations for our Share the Plate program. If you know of a great local organization that's a 501c3 and you're willing to be the liaison, please nominate them. We have a QR code here that you can pull it up on your phone and nominate. And the link can also be found in our weekly update. We will be selecting 12 organizations for 2023, so make sure to nominate your favorite organization. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions, I'll be in Gore Hall after the service, okay? Thank you.
All other announcements are on slides before and after the service and have links in the weekly update and on our website. Thanks again for being here in person and online today. Let's get started.
Please join me in the lighting of our chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
I notice how she looks at me, but I pretend that I don't see. It's easier if I let the tension subside. I've seen it in the books I read, a magic that you cannot see. There's no limitations, they wear it with pride. But the characters I read never act or look like me. I can't depend on them to lead me through the right door. And what's the point of falling when I know I'm only stalling? 'Cause I have to go back home, where I'm just one in the herd, tripping over my words, trying hard to go with the grain, keeping the quirks in my brain. I'm on the brink of discovery, I think, but what if I'm dreaming? That's what it seems like, 'cause this girl thinks I'm part of her world, and that new territory's scary. If I turn the handle, am I asking for a scandal? Should I try to be ordinary? I've always been a little odd, the only pea inside the pod. That's not an expression, I'm guessing. Oh well. See, that's exactly what I mean. I'm just as awkward as I seem. Plus she makes me nervous, I hope she can't tell. What is it she sees in this cluster clump of me? Or could it maybe be I'm going crazy? And hey, who am I kidding? This is some sweet beginning, just a detour to the end, then back to the herd, tripping over my words, trying hard to go with the grain, keeping the quirks in my brain. I'm on the brink of discovery, I think, but what if I'm dreaming? Do I rewind into amnesia, pretend I didn't see her, succumb to stupid
Wow, Carina, that was wonderful. Paul, I'm going to ask you to come up a minute. I'm going to ask you to lead us in a chant, and I think as soon as I say that, you'll know what I mean. So come on up as I start us off.
Somebody's going off script.
A little bit. That's why you're coming up here. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." As we celebrate our LGBTQ plus siblings this month, I can't help but wonder why it should require so much courage to simply be. This is what we'll explore today through sermon, reflection, poetry, and music. Let us celebrate instead one another. Let's celebrate our LGBTQ plus siblings, and let's be fully present for one another, especially in challenging times. When we were at the parade yesterday, I thought, for one thing, I wasn't going to have a voice this morning. Neither would Paul. And Paul, I'd like you to lead us in that chant you were leading everyone through yesterday. So, Paul, go ahead.
So some of us will understand that this is, now you can hear me, you can hear me. Everybody will understand that this is, all right. Everybody will understand that this is actually a call and response. So when I'm done, you're supposed to respond back to me with the same words. Are you ready? All right. Pay attention and listen. We've got pride, yes we do. We've got pride, how about you? We've got pride, yes we do. We've got pride, how about you?
We've got pride, yes we do. We've got pride, how about you?
Woo-hoo! Thank you, Paul. And you can imagine Paul doing this for a whole hour yesterday. And yeah, and then bidding one side against the other. Like this, the left side is much better. But just, and again, I just want to remind us that we need joy to sustain us in the difficult work of bringing out the beloved community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And I call us to worship with the words of Reverend Gretchen Haley, giving each other courage. Come in, all who long to know how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide, breathing deeply, in and out. This is a time to practice because there is still so much good and beauty and joy, but it can be hard to keep telling this tale with all the news and the wind and the rain and the trembling earth. Who wants to love this life anyway? Come in, all who teeter on this edge of cynicism, brokenhearted and trying to still remember laughter, kindness, and the chance to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that is not always easy to keep practicing this love that cannot and will not let us go and still calls upon us. Come, beloveds, let us worship together. And as we begin, let us greet one another. So turn to the people around you and greet and check in a little bit. Aubrey will remind us when it's time to stop.
Good morning. All right. I'm Rhonda Rodriguez. I'm the chair of the RE committee. Judith will be back next week for Time for All Ages, but for today, in celebration of Pride, we've got a video. Jazz Jennings is a well-known activist who speaks out for young people who are transgender. Her television show, I Am Jazz, ran for 7 seasons on the TLC channel, and she also wrote a book for kids telling about her experience. We will have RE activities next week when Judith returns, but for today, our child care volunteers are ready to play outside with any kids who want to join them. Judith is at a Liberal Religious Educators Association conference. So for today, let's sing the youth and children out with hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine. And let's have our folks on the end of the pews make our shelter, please. Any kids that want to come up and around, let's go through our shelter.
What a wonderful story, Jazz's story, and how I especially love how much support she had in her life. Her parents were supportive. Sounds like she also had at least some of the children were nice to her. So that's always important to have that support in one's life. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." And life certainly can manifest itself that way, and I think it's especially the case for the marginalized. And no disrespect to Nietzsche, but must suffering always accompany life or living? Especially since a lot of the suffering is a result of human actions and inactions, as in the case of Jazz, right? The kids who teased her and the ones who were nice to her and the support from her parents. Or the suffering of Jews of Nazi Germany, as another example, Black people during slavery in this country, the people of today's Ukraine, LGBTQ plus kids in Florida's school system under the Don't Say Gay law. This is just to randomly name a minute number of examples. So much suffering could have been alleviated in this world. So much can be alleviated if we could just treat one another justly and kindly, understanding our kinship to one another and recognize the worth and dignity of every person. Yesterday, we celebrated Pride here in Orlando, and it was a moving and soul-quenching experience to see so many LGBTQ plus folks and co-liberators show up in force to celebrate a group of people that have been and continue to be persecuted, shamed, and made to feel less than for the human being that they were born to be. I know that the popular social justice terms, allies and conspirators, and there's another one I can't remember. I know those are the ones that we use, but I prefer the term co-liberator because it implies that we all have skin in the game, whether or not we are directly impacted by an act of oppression. It also speaks to the South African idea of Ubuntu, which Archbishop Tutu described as, "My humanity is caught up and is inextricably bound up in yours. We belong in a bundle of life. We say a person is a person through other people. It is not, I think, therefore I am. It is, I am human because I belong." If we can remember that we belong to one another and that our humanity is indistinguishably bound up, almost like if you could think you can't see the beginning of one's humanity to the other, we're bound up to one another. We might remember to engage one another with justice, equity, and compassion in our engagements with each other. Then individuals or members of certain groups would not have to summon up courage just to go through mundane daily routines, like getting up in the morning to face the world, to dress in the way that best represents them, to work, to play, to love. And they must do this day after day. That is a lot on the psyche and on the person's body. That is a lot of summoning up of courage for a human being, just trying to live life as best as they can with what they entered the world with. It can be fatiguing, soul-depleting, and oppressive. And when the oppressed insist on fair and equitable treatment, they're asked to be patient and wait your turn, a turn that may or may never come. Or look at how much progress we've made already, which translates to look at how much we've given you, so be grateful. Or we're told things like to live is to suffer, so make meaning of your suffering. And my favorite is freedom isn't free. You must fight for it. Why? Why must I fight for something that belongs to me simply by virtue of being human? Why does a person or a group have the authority over who deserves or doesn't deserve to be free, or to infringe upon another's liberty, or one human being having to ask, beg, buy, bargain, or fight for their freedom from another human being? We have accepted these absurdities at face value and live with them as if they're facts, when in actuality, they are basically ways to cope. They are basically ways for the marginalized to cope, which is needed to survive. And so, we patiently wait. We consider how much progress has been made. We make meaning of our suffering. We fight for our freedom. But imagine with me a beloved world community where we choose to treat each other kindly, justly, and equitably, where we make space for people to be instead of who we want them to be, where we celebrate one another and we celebrate events like Pride, like we did yesterday. Imagine how much less coping there would need to be, and how much less suffering we would inflict on one another. Let's choose to be kind and just.
So I promise not to make you do any cheers for the generosity, but if you'd like. My name is Paul Knight, and I am the president-elect on the Board of Trustees, with many others who are of service to the congregation. Today, we invite you now into the practice of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values which helps sustain the life and ministries of this congregation. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give, for it is a privilege to be able to do so. And let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to also practice receiving. If you're online, or if you're a guest visiting for the first time, there is no expectation that you give, and we are simply glad that you chose to be here this morning with us. You can also give online, which I think is up on the screen behind me. You may also support this month's Share the Plate partner, the Zebra Coalition, by finding a link to their organization in our weekly newsletter. The Zebra Coalition is a network of organizations that provide services to our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and all youth ages 13 to 24. We are known for supporting our LGBTQ plus community, and it is at our hearts that we do so. The coalition assists young people facing homelessness, bullying, isolation from their family, physical, sexual, and drug abuse with individualized program to guide them into recovery and stability. Our offerings will now be collected.
We belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. Many times I tried to tell you how I often felt alone. Always I'm surprised how much you make me feel like I've come home. Don't wanna leave you lonely. I've invested too much time to give you up that easy. To the doubts that complicate my life. We belong to the light. We belong to the thunder. We belong to the sound of the words we both fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together. It is not a sign of weakness if I don't know what to say. And now we have learned just what to do with our strength anyway. Have we become a habit? Do we distort the facts? Now there's just looking forward. Now there's no turning back. When we say we belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong to the sound of the words we've all fallen under. We belong to the light. We belong to the thunder. We belong to the sound of the words we've all fallen under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together.
Thank you so much, Aubrey and the choir. That's so meaningful on this precious weekend, Pride Weekend. Thank you, Kathy. So let us be joyful and receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship. Thank you.
Showtime's The L Word, Season 2 finale, premiering at Pulse Nightclub, May 2005. It was our first date that was just the two of us, out in public. It was my first date with a woman. We were both so giddy with excitement about the event and about being together. I think we spent more time and effort getting ready, choosing outfits, gussying up for that evening than we did 2 years later, dressing for our wedding. It had been so inspiring, although a little bit intimidating, following 2 seasons of the characters in this television series, all flawlessly beautiful, successful, powerful, rich, confident, courageous, out lesbians. And while that may not have actually represented the majority of us, because television, finally, seeing some representation on TV. 35 years old, but I felt like a teenager trying to be like my TV idols and going on my very first date. With Rachel, who was flawlessly beautiful, successful, powerful, rich in spirit, confident, courageous, out. Together, arm in arm, we stepped through the entrance of Pulse, and something happened that I hadn't expected. I exhaled. I loosened my tense muscles and relaxed. I hadn't even been conscious of how much I'd been holding my breath and tensing my body, not just as I started the process of coming out to family members and friends and a few coworkers, but just in walking down the street or sitting in a restaurant with Rachel. For me, there have been relatively few encounters of outright discrimination, rejection, harassment, or violence. It's simply in the expectation, the reality, being prepared, embracing myself for the possibility that these things could occur at any time on an ongoing basis, still 17 years later. I still catch myself exhaling the breath I didn't realize I was holding after I meet a potential new client and the expression "my wife and I" spills out. Or when I leave the gas station, or last week when I took Rachel to the airport, set her luggage down on the curb. We looked lovingly into each other's eyes, embraced warmly, and kissed goodbye. Getting back into the car, I noticed a man on the curb, staring at me and frowning. An involuntary shiver chills down my back. Maybe he wasn't even seeing me, but staring through me and thinking about his dreaded upcoming trip to visit his in-laws. I don't know. Most of the time, I can't know for sure. I said a silent prayer for Rachel's safety, put the car in drive, and slowly exhaled, dropped my shoulders, and felt secure in the knowledge that my life, this love we have, is worth some risk, empowers me to muster up courage, and inspires me to celebrate. In fighting for LGBTQ rights, I worked so hard to normalize my life, mostly by proving I wasn't different. I was just like everybody else. It's what most of us did, and went a long way to working and helping win more rights, but at a cost. I worked so hard to look, act, behave, prove I was just like any heterosexual person. I tamped down things about me that are unique as a lesbian and things that are different in our marriage, while striving to identify and be seen as equal and concentrating on our common ground and our universal experiences. That was necessary. It was fun. It was enlightening. It was spiritually fulfilling. But I often sacrificed showing or celebrating what is different about me as a lesbian, what's different about our marriage, and what's special about our lesbian sisters. My experience, my fear, my courage, my celebration as a lesbian is different also from that of gay men or bisexual individuals which is different from transgender, which is different from non-binary. My experience coming out and being out is different from Rachel's, who came out at a different time in her life and at a different time in history. Being fully, authentically ourselves is challenging and sadly often not safe or without risk for people of color, for women, for people with certain religious beliefs or without, immigrants, and on and on. It takes a bit of courage for any of us at times to be our true, authentic, entire selves. We may not even realize we're holding our breath, holding back, hesitating, fear, until, if we're lucky, we find a place of safety, of sanctuary, and exhale. Maybe out in nature or in solitude, maybe just inside us, in our heart and mind. Courage, celebration, peace. Or maybe a place built by and held by people. We people are what create sanctuary and harbor safety for each other. Still, we are persecuted, shot, raided, threatened, fired, name-called, or simply glared at. Those of us spared are called to close our ranks and open our arms and doors again, creating sanctuary in nightclubs, streets, churches, praying and blessing, marching and voting, parading and dancing, living and loving loudly, giving each other the courage to celebrate who each of us are meant to be.
Let's take a deep breath together, everyone. Thank you for sharing so deeply. It is now the time we set aside for some deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or helped with, or have a joy that you wish to share here, please contribute to our sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during worship. You can send an email during the week at joysandconcerns@orlandouu.org. And if you're attending in person, you can fill out a card at the registration table before service and hand it to an usher who will make sure it gets up here. You can also light a candle during our silent candle lighting ritual. You will be invited to come up as you are willing and able to light a candle for those joys, sorrows, and the in-betweens that you wish to hold close to your heart. Use that sacred time to do so. You are held in this space. So bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come as you are. Your whole self is welcome here. We have a couple of joys and one sorrow to share. This is from Patty Reynolds. Hi, friends. I ask for prayers for my nephew, Mike. Mike had a heart attack Saturday night, is in an induced coma, staying cold, and has some brain damage. They will try to warm him up tomorrow, and hopefully this action will not trigger a stroke or another heart attack. He is in Northern Virginia on a ventilator and in critical condition. And I believe Patty's away visiting. We have two joys. This is from Ann Patton. Happy birthday to Bob, who is celebrating 86 years on Earth as of October 16. And we have one from Marianne Buckland. After 21 years of working for the same company, I am excited to be starting a new job and new adventure. So, congratulations. From the larger community, this past week we had another mass shooting, this time in Raleigh, North Carolina. This makes 531 mass shooting in the U.S. so far this year. May this continued assault on the bodies and psyches of the people of our nation cease. May all those directly impacted be comforted. You know, in Iran right now, many are putting their bodies on the line in protest for women's rights and protection following the killing of a young woman, Mahsa Amini, because she was wearing her hijab apparently incorrectly. The protesters themselves are being brutalized week after week, and some women are being taken to mental institutions. Nothing new there, you know, if a woman cries injustice, you know, she's crazy. So may their cry for justice be heard, and may their efforts not be in vain, but prove to be fruitful. Continued prayers for our neighbors near and far in Florida, also to the people of Puerto Rico and others who continue to deal with the aftermath of storms. May relief come soon. And we know that wars, fires, floods, and other devastations continue to impact the lives of so many around the globe. Let us remember that we are connected to all living creatures and send them loving kindness. And may they all be at ease. And for all the joys and sorrows in this community shared, and for those held close to the heart, let us pray, let us celebrate, and let us send each other healing energy. And I invite you now in a moment of reflective meditation with the words of Victoria Safford, Map of the Journey. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here is the place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here is where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed, and I survived that also. This is the place where I said no, more loudly than I thought I could ever, and everybody stared, and I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said. And those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me they had no power anymore. Here is a time, and here's another when I laid down my fear and walked right on into it, right up to my neck into that roiling water. Here is where cruelty taught me something, and here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle that it was. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I wasn't accustomed. It cycled around as best as it could. I sent it back out, passed the gift along, a circular motion around and around, and has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustained me still. It clarifies my seeing. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my own ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, if by surgeon's knife, my heart was opened up, and here, and here, and here, these are the landmarks of conversion. As you reflect on your own map of journey, I invite you to come up to our candle altar and light a candle if you are so moved. Aubrey will be singing Comfort Me as some of you come up. If you're not moved into lighting a candle, feel free to hum along, sing along, rock along, or whatever allows you space to reflect. Afterwards, we'll sing a verse of Comfort Me together.
Comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
My name is Lisa Marie, and the title of my poem is Prayers for Courage. You know me. When my story won't be recognized and my name will never be canonized for following you, you demand I stand up and speak the truth. You show me when I'm dressed in doubt and I feel fake and my voice trembles and my knees shake like a breath of painted sunlight wafting off the waters. Your words rise without failure, fickleness, or falter. You show me your belief in me when all I have left is grief, when the world around me seems to take and take and take. You demand love in the face of hate. You know me when I'm so determined to destroy my own health, and I know I'm lying to myself, and when I feel trapped and like there's no way out. You demand I speak the words, I need help. You show me when you tell me to let go of every comfort I have ever known, knowing all the people I would enrage, risk losing everything I built and made. When I feel it's too much a risk to follow you, you demand I stand up and speak the truth. You show me when I'm afraid to let my bitterness go, it leaves peacefully and without whisper, like a tree shedding leaves before the first call of winter. Spirit of courage, help me write. Let everything spilling from my pen be laced in your light. Come through me and speak even when I'm weary and weak, when all I crave is rest, when my body's wrecked with pain. Let your love radiate from my chest. When I feel like I'm going insane, let your clarity break open my mind. When I feel I've spent my last penny of hope, show me everything is on your time. Spirit of courage, please gift the bravery to be everything you made me to be. Amen.
Someone's being silly, that's no way to be. Ronnie D, here's the tea. Gosh, I'd hate to upset sensitive ears, so let me say this soft so no one hears. I've always been gay. Oops, I said it, I'm gay. You can bet that's a badge that I wear with a fabulous flair, 'cause I'm gay. Gay, 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 gay. Sorry. Oh, honey, I'm queer as a drag queen's brassiere. And although you might think I'm the flawed, well, I'm as gay as a Broadway premiere. All your thinly veiled hate is a dangerous trend. Oh, it's such a vile cliche. You'd rather talk straight, and I'd hate to offend. So I'll try not to say that I'm as gay as an Easter bouquet. I'm as gay as the cast of Euphoria or a Sephora display. Girl, I'm as fruity as Gaga in Gucci, and gorgeously let's bask in the splendor of all shades and genders. So sing it out loud, ma'am, and let's say we're proud fam. And at this church we all say gay.
May the world make space for you to simply be who you are, unapologetically, as you are entitled to that. May you get to love who you love openly and freely, as it is your birthright as a human being. And may you help create that world for all of us. Beloveds, worship has ended, and now the service truly begins.
Please say these words with me as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.